Guess it's time to start recording. Okay, so this one wasn't even a chat recommendation. Well, I guess it was from like a completely different stream, but somebody brought the PLASMATRON 9000 back into my brain, and I closed the menu before recording this brilliantly. So the PLASMATRON 9000, he's been going crazy gifting subs to anybody who asks. So Twitch link down below if you guys ever want to join in on this madness. PLASMATRON is a sci-fi pistol that truly behaves exactly like an SMG. It is fully automatic, and it's a heat capacity weapon, which means, very similarly to the Scourge, you never technically have to reload this weapon. For those of you who don't know how these heating up, heat generation weapons work, whenever you overheat the weapon, that triggers what is technically known as a reload event. That is basically the same thing as hitting reload on a normal weapon with a magazine. However, differently enough, these weapons never technically have to reload. So what I've done is I've changed it from a normal build where typically fire rate is quite recommended, but that does make it heat it up faster. And I typically ran heat capacity to counter that. So today we're running double crit damage. You'll see where this is going in a second. And I am keeping the heat capacity just so that I don't kind of screw with myself. And I don't think one damage perk is really going to go that far with the way that damage works in this game. Crit rating is just so that we don't have totally rocking out, it's not necessary the whole time is what I'm trying to say. And the 6 perk has a lot of great options. The expanding ring of damage I think is more consistent because the projectiles don't always even hit a target and they do set off propane. But stacking crit rating is also a pretty good 6 perk. With a base 15% crit chance and 43 with a perk, we're already critting pretty well often. I don't think a stacking crit rating is worth it. And adding shield is actually pretty good considering we're using Rio in support. We'll talk about the loadout in a second. I'm just going to keep it as it is, but if I was going to switch to anything, I think the expanding ring of damage is probably the way to go because that would do more damage than keeping Rio active in my opinion, but that could be completely false, frankly, because 20% is a pretty good bonus. So let's start from the top. It's CRACKSHOT as usual, totally rocking out. I'm using Battle Beat and Fumble because neither of these heroes require me to switch off my weapon, meaning if I had to switch to Wafers, it would drop all the CRACKSHOT buffs. Then we've got Resonant Frequency. As mentioned, she'll be giving us 20% in support, which is technically more than 17. I'm assuming my shields aren't always going to be full, but fingers crossed, we're going to try it. Then we're running Beetlejuice in support because she buffs pistols. Remember, this is not an SMG. Typically, I'd prefer Sledgehammer because he has higher base stats, but that only functions on SMGs, which is where they both share a buff. And then finally, we've got Startup because Bolts from Jonesy plus CRACKSHOT is a match made in heaven. So, yeah, let's get started. Ooh, I've been chaining this group for a while. Let's see what we can do. So, one thing I might have neglected to mention earlier is that the PLASMATRON actually has really great weapon pierce, so it is a phenomenal crowd clearer. The single target damage isn't the craziest I've ever seen, but as you'll see, it doesn't always matter. Let's see what we can do here. Oh, I think pretty much everybody fled right as I started, but it doesn't even matter. The double crit damage really makes up for it. Nice, slow, consistent damage. Right there as you're seeing with the slow projectiles, it's not the most versatile, easy weapon to use, but it is very, very, very good at crowd clearing, and it is freaking me out because I keep trying to reload and I can't. A caught wind of an encampment right next to the defense. Oh wait, these enemies are like separate from the encampment. There's so many enemies here. Did you guys just drag every enemy in the map over to the defense? Yo, Beast, heard you wanted some gameplay. This thing is hardly overheating. This is so much mileage. It's awesome. Because we're getting all of our damage from, crits and totally rocking out. So you don't even need to, like, spam the weapon. It becomes a situation where I'm able to just slowly delete everything. This is great. This is really good. Although the enemies at this point are very well spread out. So this is where a not super long range, not instant, hit scan projectile is a little tricky to deal with. But as long as they're focused on my teammates, this is an easy cleanup and a really, really good showing of how strong this weapon is. Oh, that Taker never had a chance. And it's like a tiny Pulsar 9000 that's just, I mean, it's from the same set, so of course it's the same premise, but it's so satisfying to run. I'm gonna see if I can get maybe another group of enemies, and then we'll start the defense. Are these 4 gonna suffice? Ooh, that's so clean. Okay, I was looking for a group of enemies, but just realized that I hadn't, well, I just cleared all my CRACKSHOT buffs. Doesn't matter, it should be fairly well easy. At a 4.5 fire rate, it should take a little over, is this like the Pulsar 9000? A little over 10 seconds to get all my stacks back? No, that's so unfortunate. Oh, but it doesn't even matter. You just jump over their head and he dies easily. Stack up CRACKSHOT, shooting at the enemies, and this is what I'm talking about. So really, really fantastic crowd clearing, but this is an unimpressive damage amount. I'm sure totally rocking out would help a lot, but Yeah, let's go over and get the defense started and see if we can get some crowd clearing going. All right, mission beginning. So we got a bit of a 3-lane defense here, all congregating, terminating in this one spot. Fun fact, I learned that word from, oh, this is exactly what I feared. I learned that word from The Walking Dead with the terminus stuff. This is, oh my goodness. You know, I dogged on the 7 explosions when it crits, but when you're in a tight space like this, that is a very, very effective 6 perk. I've just seen it where, I don't remember, I think I was getting, oh my goodness, I didn't even see it. I was getting gameplay for the PLASMATRON 9000 for the top 10 SMGs video, and that's where I sort of saw the 7 rings, or the 7 projectiles not really doing a lot. I'm gonna need help on the Smasher team. Yeah, I am not gonna be doing very much single target damage. This weapon is good for crowd clearing, and that's it. Thank you for the health pad. I'm getting a lot of support here. That was probably for himself, I don't actually know. But yeah, so I was using that, and the 7 explosions weren't doing much, but in a tight space like this, it's gonna go a long way. And I need to back up again. All of these healing pads are gonna be absolutely required for me to not die, but as long as I stay safe, I think we're gonna be outputting some really consistent damage. Obviously, shielders and riot huskies are gonna be the bane of my existence, but just going through all these different enemies, as long as the bow users or the floor freeze can stun those riot huskies, it'll make it super easy to actually shoot right past their shield. Yeah, floor freeze. Not only are they taking 20% more, but they're just moving their shield right out of the way. That's so nice for them to do that for me. This is so great. If you guys ever want to try the PLASMATRON, this is a super recommended weapon. It's only available through the sci-fi set and or a voucher because of that. I do believe it's worth a voucher. And this is like a voucher recommendation for somebody who's got all the OP stuff. Like, you've got your deatomizer, you've got your mythic weapons. You don't really need any of the super strong weapons. Some people like to use their voucher on the Xenon bow. It's available in normal llamas, but it's super rare, so I understand. If you're looking for something fun and you've got all the regular picks, this is honestly a very strong weapon. Like, this is actually good. I think I've ranked it S tier before. If I didn't, I really should have. And I hope that this gameplay is proof as to why. S tier technically is usually when I consider a weapon capable of doing it all, so to speak. You know, I try to get away from that one. And while this does struggle against single target, its crowd clearing is phenomenal. And I know that didn't save it, you know, for the Pulsar, but in the sake of being consistent, I have to bring that up. It's different. I feel like this weapon is actually better at crowd clearing than the Pulsar 9000. It's maybe not as efficient with your energy cells, but I mean, that's just where it becomes a complicated conversation. And I feel like 10 different high-level players would make 10 different tier lists. So I'm trying to be consistent, but I do favor the PLASMATRON very highly. And this weapon is just insane. Smasher's going down easy with help of the teammates. The enemies are just, you know, kind of giving me a hard time with these shielders, but as long as those shielder husks are getting destroyed, it's easy peasy. Easy peasy. So in trying to record, I just stopped the stream, so everybody on Twitch is going to be confused for a second, but we just had a fun thing. I'm going to use this as a video teaser. For those of you who want to, you know, stay tuned for these videos, we were just talking about, apparently, the Storm King's Wrath can have triple crit damage, and Aura's up for running Boom Base next game to buff the crit rating even further. So that could be crazy. I figure if I run Totally Rockin' Out, we'll be able to crit fairly well often. And then, with like Sealing Electric Fields keeping the Totally Rockin' Out active, I could just focus the Mist monsters and the Smashers, and whew, that could be some high level damage, and I'm kind of excited for it. But for now, we're just cleaning up enemies. What more do you want me to say? This is just beautiful. I'm dancing around these death bombs. I'm learning how to not be dead all the time. And as I say that, I run straight into 2 death bombs and a beehive. Oh, but I survived this time. The healing pads are going a very long way. Oh my gosh. I feel like these healing pads are just like handicap for me because I'm killing myself constantly. Oh, there's our mini boss. Tank Nature. Okay, team, I'm gonna need your guys' help on this one. I'm not gonna be able to contribute too much. What happened there? Oh, I got hit by a Xenon bow. Yeah, that's not gonna be too much help from my end. I could throw a couple of drones. How about, all right, or just one drone and then die. I can't really be much more useless than literally dead. I'm gonna let them focus on that, and then I'll try to not let the zombies get too close. We do have a couple of people running base, but that's not always enough. Oh my lord, this is just a disaster. Actually, this would be a great time for a adrenaline rush since everybody's low. I'll pop it now anyway, just to get them in. Put some damage in on the smashers, because, you know, I'm super helpful for that right now. I'm just going to bounce past them and shoot the regular enemies. Kind of amazing how well these floor freezes are holding up, too, because, you know, exploding death burst and death bomb is, well, death bomb's the operative one there. You'd think it'd be dead by now, but with a couple of constructors and teammates who have probably been healing this without me noticing, they've held up really well. I've also found out that even without a constructor, a max level metal floor can actually hold up to a lot of damage, and it goes a long way. Did I get hit by the Xenon bow earlier or pulled in by a vortex? It felt like a Xenon bow, but I haven't been accidentally launched by a Xenon bow, I don't think, ever. I'm not even sure if you can still do that. I don't know why they take it out of the game, but I don't know. Do either of you know?
No.
I don't know.
You're Wally?
Anybody in chat know?
What?
Can you guys use Xenon bow still to launch people?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna actually swap to the Scourge and try to help on this Smasher. So I have a loadout that buffs this weapon by a lot. And I've actually completely forgotten about Rio. I made that whole conversation about her, and then I just have barely utilized her. Okay. I did not want to miss out on another mini-boss, because they absolutely do despawn now, and from what I have... I'm not 100% on this. I don't remember exactly what Archer said when Community Manager got back to him, but I do believe that's intentional, that they despawn. So, I don't like that. I don't like having 1 minute to kill the mini-boss, but I guess it just is what it is. I don't know. 30 seconds left on the clock, though. I'm gonna miss this weapon. Like, there are some of these videos, and this happened last time too with the hacksaw, where I just want to keep shooting. Like, this is so satisfying. The death burst is a little bit much, but look at this. All these big fat enemies just dying, just killing them all at once. This weapon is fantastic for encampments. This is one of those videos where I pitched this in a couple of videos ago, but that video is not even live on the channel yet, and so I don't know your guys' feedback. But if I were to do like an encampment speedrunning series with people in game where we all use one loadout and try to go as fast as possible, it wouldn't be like as fast as possible, but more focused on just seeing how well certain weapons can handle encampments. I feel like a Plasmatron, like all four of us running Plasmatron, would be a pretty good feature. Either way, thank you guys so much for watching. Comment on what you guys want to see in the future. Go get some ice cream, and I'll see you in the next one. And then